One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.
Greetings, this is Tai Brown when I'm here at the 2017 NACTIC Convention. I'm here with David Harris. He is currently the Director of Athletics at University of Northern Iowa. Thanks for being with us, David.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, David, you've been in the job for 14 months, and one question that I've always wanted to ask somebody who's relatively new to the chair is, when you go in on an interview, you have your 90-day plan, and, they probably ask you because they just want to see if you have a plan. But my question is, how much of that plan did you stick to over the first 90 days, and is it realistic to try to stick to it?
I think it's realistic to try to stick to it. You want to be able to go into the job with a plan for how you want to approach your first 90 to 100 days. But you don't want to be so set in the plan that when circumstances dictate that you can't rotate into something else, because you never know what's going to happen in your first 90 or 100 days. For instance, the president who hired me, left about 3 months into me getting the position. And so obviously that caused you to have to adjust and think about doing things a little bit differently, because now you're going to be working with an interim president until you can get another permanent president in place. So I think it's important to have a plan, because when you're going into an interview, you want to be able to articulate that you've given this some thought, that you feel like there's certain things that you really want to get accomplished. I think people naturally want to hear that. But then once you go into the position, while you're trying to stick to that plan, you have to be able to adjust when necessary, because you're going to get some new information. You're going to become aware of some things that maybe you didn't know before the interview or during the interview. So those things may become a priority over the things that you had planned out to do. I think the main thing in that first 90 days is you're trying to meet as many people as you possibly can. For me, it was about trying to get individual time with all of my staff members, trying to meet with all the coaches, trying to get out into the community. I think most ADs would tell you they really want to spend that time listening. So that's probably the one thing that's non-negotiable. You have to spend that time listening and learning as much as you possibly can. The other things you can compromise on a little bit depending on the circumstance that you're walking into. You may be walking into doing a coaching search, or you may be walking into some other circumstance. So make sure you leave yourself enough flexibility that you can do what needs to be done in addition to what you planned on doing.
Hey, I'll ask one follow-up question here on something you said. If I am going into an interview and I want to talk about my 90-day plan, you said the priority. There's got to be one or two priorities, and one of them you said is basically getting to know everybody, and making sure you do that. Are there any other things that you think are the non-negotiables, the number 1, 2, and 3 things you want to do, you want to have in your 90-day plan, A, for the interview, but also when you actually get the job? These are the things you definitely want to do.
For me, it's about the people. I think the non-negotiables are about getting in front of certain groups. You want to get in front of your student athletes. That's a non-negotiable to me. You want to get in front of as many donors as you can, especially those that you know are going to be impactful. You want to get in front of significant people on your campus, whether it's your provost or the senior management team or certain faculty members. To me, the things that you really can't negotiate on is that this is a job about relationships, and you can't wait 100 days to start building those relationships. There are other things in there like facilities. Maybe you're going to make an adjustment in how your staff is going to be structured. Some of those things you can kind of delay until you gather more information. But the one thing you can't delay is the people part of it, especially because people kind of pay attention to that type of thing. And if you're not meeting with the right people in a certain period of time, then you start to garner a reputation that you're not going to really like. They feel like, you're not paying attention to the people that you should be paying attention to. So to me, that's really the main thing.
That is. And that first impression, you don't get a second chance.
Absolutely.
So it's important that you're going right. Well, you're definitely a people person. That's how we know each other. You've always reached out to me and supported me, and I appreciate that. And I also appreciate you taking the time out to sit here and talk to me about something that's important for people who aspire to be an athletic director. Thank you very much for joining us, David.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. That's David Harris, the Director of Athletics at University of Northern Iowa. And this is Tai Brown signing off.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.